Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the H.C. Wainwright 27th Annual Global Investment Conference. My name is Kyle Murray, and I'm an analyst on the H.C. Wainwright Corporate Access team. We're very excited you all could join us today for a productive day of one-on-one meetings, corporate presentations, and panels. For this session, we are thrilled to welcome ARAI AI, trading under the ticker ARAI. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Dan O'Toole. I'm the CEO and founder at ARAI AI. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, H.C. Wainwright, and anyone listening to our presentation. We appreciate that. ARAI AI is building out the intelligent platform for the last inch of the autonomous last mile. We like to think of ourselves at the intersection of AI and autonomy. So if that's an interesting story, we hope you'll listen to what we have to say. Thank you. Forward-looking statements, I think everyone here is probably familiar with those, so we're going to skip that. Leadership team. I'm Dan O'Toole, CEO and founder. Started the company in 2014. Been an entrepreneur my whole career, with 3 exits on companies that I've started. Started the company in 2014 with an idea, ran to the patent office. We beat Amazon by 4 days on our first patent, beat the Postal Service by 2 weeks, and others by less than a month. We have Mark Hamm to my left here. He's our COO. He came from FedEx, VP of Innovation, strong AI background, and working every day to build the next big thing with me. Todd Pepmeier, our CFO. Todd came from Rolls-Royce and Ford, strong financial background. Really proud of the team. Neerav Shah, Chief Strategy Officer. Neerav exited his own drone company to come throne with us. And then John Richardson is our IP and Chief Legal Counsel. He's not with us today. I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to you.
Actually, yeah. Thanks, Dan. Neerav Shah, Chief Strategy Officer. So platforms are really the space that we're iterating in. 7 out of the 10 largest market cap companies are platforms, and we think we're iterating in very much the same space. So if you look at Tesla, Meta, Amazon, all of these are platform companies, and we feel that we're going to fit into that very nicely. So how we're going to get there is with autonomous delivery. So there's millions of deliveries happening across the country and the world, places like North Texas, DFW area, Winston-Salem. So we're seeing millions of ground robot deliveries, aerial drone deliveries, and soon humanoid deliveries as well. So the key headline here is the cost savings. Going from human-driven vehicles to ground robot deliveries, you're saving 80+%. Going from human-driven cars to drones is 90+%. So the other headline here is the TAM. So ARK Invest is saying by 2030 it will be a $440 billion market. So we're very excited to be a platform in this space. Next, I'm going to hand it to Mark.
Yeah, so fundamentally, right now you have a bunch of vertically integrated autonomous networks like a Wing, a Zipline, a Serve Robotics. They have their technology, they have their software, and they're beginning to solve how they do asynchronous delivery and pickup. And we believe they're going to end up at the same place that the EV market ended up, which is needing a common network that spans all of their networks. We call that a horizontal network, just as EVs adopted the Tesla network, right? So what are the benefits of doing that? Well, we believe it's the key to unlocking the last 50% of the savings that they're after, as well as the customer experience. By ARAI having a ubiquitous, interoperable network that supports all of them, it ushers in not only choice for the customer, which network do I use when versus being locked into one company's vertical. It also ushers in multimodal logistics. A drone brings, a robot picks up. A robot brings it, the DoorDash courier that just dropped off at another house can pick up and take it to its next destination. So that's what unlocks with a horizontal network. And that's the foundation of what we're talking about when we talk about a platform. Oh, okay. Still my slide. So what comprises that platform? As I just said, it's the ARAI Point Network, and we expect that to be about 50% of revenues. That the core value there is the asynchronous delivery, temperature assist to packaging, and secure chain of custody. Those are the fundamentals. If you check into our patents, we have way more capabilities patented that'll be on our roadmap eventually. In addition to that, we'll have an ALM marketplace, autonomous last mile marketplace. You can't have a bunch of automation showing up to an arrive point like hummingbirds at a feeder. It has to be kind of managed as a airport gateway, if you will. And then in addition to that, we have limited high value space, and we'll be farming that out with a kind of Google AdSense model as appropriate. So you have a party during the Super Bowl, your food's on the way, UPS wants to make the 5th delivery in your neighborhood. How does that get resolved? We'll orchestrate how that gets resolved and maximize the opportunity. And then the last part is AI services. This is really using all the data that we'll have as a network of what's coming and going from your home, as well as what's going through the neighborhood, to offer new types of logistics like reverse logistics, finish my trip. The US Post Office can't get enough route density in a neighborhood. FedEx, UPS, they can all drop off at an arrive point, and one of them finish the deliveries for everybody, so they all make money. So it's services like that that will enable with AI.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Todd Pepmeier, CFO. Autonomous logistics transcends every use case, from retail delivery, quick commerce, specialty pharmacy in particular, hospital networks. 91% of the deliveries today are 5 pounds or less, which is perfect for drones, robots, to carry that forward. Can you go back, Mark? So that 5-pound delivery is easily accessible by every form of automation, and it really allows us to saturate a zip code with arrive points. Go ahead. On our last earnings call, we laid out our 5-year plan at a high level. Really starts with the 10-year history of the company, strong foundational IP, which has been our initial moat. We've raised $15 million prior to going public. And now the acceleration begins in year 1 post-public listing. We're going to transition over that time to shipping 100,000 arrive points a year. So the installed base of the new autonomous last mile network up to 100,000 by year 5 of this plan. If we execute this plan, we build additional moats around the horizontal arrive point that Mark mentioned, strategic partnerships along the way, and we come out of this with the world's first ALM network. And this plan, this 5-year plan, we're targeting to 10x the valuation of the company over that period.
Thanks, guys. Wait, were we?
We're going to do the IP and then go back.
Okay. I apologize. Yep. Sorry, guys. We're taking this on the run here. Talking about our intellectual property, we were founded in 2014, as I mentioned earlier, with an idea. I knew that when one person has an idea, 10 people have the same idea. I'd lost out on a couple previous patents, one to Sony by a month, one to General Motors by 3 months. So when I had this idea, I ran to the patent office, and we came up with the idea Friday, filed on a Monday. And as it turned out, we beat Amazon by 4 days, beat the Postal Service by 2 weeks, and others by less than a month. So, and we were the very first prior art, if you will, in the space. So we were able to get very broad claims and a lot of claims. So 200 claims that we've either filed for or have already been awarded. To date in the U.S., we have 9 issued utility patents. We have 4 that are currently pending. We've extended through PCT our patents to the world. We have 49 pending and 9 issued currently. So we really do have a first position patent portfolio. We believe that no item will, I'll say this, autonomy is where our patents start. You have lockers and mailboxes and things like that out there. But when you add the element of autonomy to delivery or pickup, that's us. And we think that's where the market is going, and we're excited about that. And we believe that we're in a rare winner-take-all market. As Mark mentioned earlier, the Tesla charging network has become the standard. We know that there's not going to be 3 arrive points in front of a home or business. You're not going to have an Amazon, a USPS, and a Walmart. There's going to be one universal access point that takes delivery and pickup from every courier, and that's us. That's the Arrive standard, Arrive AI, ticker symbol ARAI. Check us out on the Nasdaq. That is it. That concludes our presentation. We're happy to take questions. If anybody here has any questions, just identify yourself and ask your question. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Best question gets a green tie.
Hi, how are you?
I don't know. By the way, beautiful. Can you tell us a bit about your competition, what your peers are, a big player coming in?
Yeah, I'll start out. I'm going to hand it to Mark real quick, but okay. And don't let that discourage any questions either. Okay. We will not give a green tie if you don't want to. But so anyway, we call it co-opetition. We feel like we have a huge moat with our IP portfolio that I just mentioned. And we think that because of the universal nature and just the end-to-end solutions are probably not the way to go. Everybody wants to be able to take advantage of the network. I'm going to let Mark jump in on that. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, let me find a slide here. Well, this one will do. All of these companies, I started with the company 3 years ago, and most of these companies had just brought out some automation. And then they began to build the software for that automation. Then they began to build the software for a fleet. At that time, when we talked to many of these companies, they weren't really even thinking about the fact that they would have to coexist with other networks. When we would ask them a question about that, it would surprise them. When we would ask them how they thought about scheduling an arrival time, like, why would I do that? I just send it, right? They had kind of no awareness. Since then, they've continued to progress. They kind of would send the burrito to you and then discover that you weren't there to receive the burrito. That's an asynchronous delivery problem. They eventually solved that with software. What they were doing was operating in a hub and spoke model. They would send the courier to the burrito shop, take it to the hub and spoke, send it to you by drone, and then they realize their couriers are waiting around for burritos. So they had to start working on that. So if you look at these companies, they're in various stages of figuring out automation for asynchronous delivery and pickup in their vertically integrated solution, much like every EV manufacturer, just getting to the edge of, well, how big are we going to make this charger network? Where's it going to have to be, right? They're just starting to figure that out. And they've just figured out too, and some before others. I mean, like Wing and Zipline doing a great job, Serve Robotics doing a great job. At some point, they transitioned from hub and spoke to more of an Uber kind of model where it's continuous pickup and delivery. So now they're kind of in the sweet spot for needing a horizontal network. So you could call all of those competition, if you will, that they have competing technology that might be suitable for a pickup or a delivery, but it only works with their automation. So we've got in our next generation product a goal of 100% interoperability. And we have a design to do that with the public funds we just got. We're literally hiring that team as we speak. On Wednesday, the first cohort comes in. So we're pretty happy about that. And really, when it comes to the IP portfolio, the solutions we've been delivering that have shown all these capabilities, and now the roadmap that's going to pull it all together into the next gen product, we think we're in a pretty good position to do winner take all with the co-opetition.
Just a question, that understanding.
Yeah.
Have you sourced out pricing yet, or is it too early to talk about that? Size, distance?
Yeah, so at a high level, I talk to pricing in 2 ways, right? At a high level, there's the cost of putting the network out there, and how that's covered. Then there's what we call network as a service, a recurring cost for the network. So that's going to be handled by what we call sponsors. So if you're Walmart and you want to get this to the top 10% of your customers in a in a MSA, a city, because they're doing $2,000 of business with you a month or something like that, you will sponsor in those units. And much like some business models we've seen out there, they'll get 80% of the revenue, and we'll take 20 until it's paid for, and then it flips. We get the network as a service as it goes along, and the revenue comes from transactional pricing that's TBD. So there'll be transactional pricing, and as we said, the marketplace will escalate transactional value when either gate times or space are in high demand. And then the AI services will unleash a host of new types of logistics that aren't available. Dan has a phrase he likes to use, the shipping store at your door. You know, you come out with a pair of shoes, you just drop it in there. We know your wife ordered it yesterday from Zappos with a couple other pairs, and this one's being returned. We figure out the logistics of returning it, and we take a cut of that. So that's where we are with pricing and the revenue model. Neerav's in the middle of a bunch of pilots with our current generation units that are figuring that out. In fact, every pilot is being conducted with different pricing at this time. Thanks.
Is embracing cryptocurrency on the horizon?
Yes.
Thank you very much. The question was about cryptocurrency. We did a press release about a week ago, probably, or 2 weeks ago. We're, as a tech company, we want to be on the cutting edge. Obviously, Michael Saylor is going to be here today, so we're excited about that. I'm going to be our first employee to get a portion of my pay in crypto. We're selecting Bitcoin, and we are looking to take payment and maybe make payments in crypto as well. We also, in that press release, announced that excess capital that's on our balance sheet, we would look at putting that potentially, or a percentage of it, into Bitcoin. So it is something that we're embracing, and we're looking into it. Mark, you want to add to that?
Yeah. So that's kind of the monetary side of crypto, and we'll let the market evolve on how valuable that is. But then there's obviously the blockchain, the immutable record, potentially having tokens that are used for quick exchanges within our network. So that's a future area of exploration. But we know that all our partners, service providers, customers are not going to want to pay transaction fees, are going to want to instantly swap value, pay for things. In the new logistics, as an arbitrage opportunity, we see each of your schedules and we figure out that Dan can complete the delivery for you more economically. That's going to create a quick transfer of value that'll probably long-term be enabled by a token on someone's blockchain, like an Ethereum, like a Solana, like a Sui. But we're not announcing anything there yet, but it is an obvious play for us as a network and platform.
Any other questions?
Robotics has been out for a while, automated deliveries. With the drone delivery, that I believe those have to have certifications for people to fly those. How is that going to be built out in your training and onboarding?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Thank you. So fundamentally, we're not the drone, right? We're the box at the end. So we see the regulatory landscape changing very fast. There was an announcement by the DOT and commissioner a couple of weeks ago saying, we're going to unleash the American drone dominance. So we see the regulations coming down very fast, and that's just going to encourage the growth of our platform. Anything else to add?
Yeah, I think as we look forward where we're deploying and going, there are major networks already at play in places like Texas and California. We're working in North Carolina as well. And we believe they'll continue to area by area introduce their own radar. They're going to switch from this 107 to 108. So the industry is figuring that out. We are really going to be a catalyst for returning value to those companies and making it worthwhile for them to do that.
Time for one more. Anybody else want to win the green tie? Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. We're
All right.
ARAI, ticker ARAI.